Next question is from Alexis. She says, how do you reconcile with family when they want nothing to do with God? My father grew up Catholic, never took us to church, but has put some of their values, so to speak. And whenever I try to talk to my sister specifically, she wants nothing to do with it, and we start fighting over me pushing my religion on her. And it just breaks my heart because I just want her to be saved.
Yes.
And then she says she just thinks I'm another hypocritical Christian. What do you say to Alexis?
So there's a couple things, right? And one of the things that Jesus warns us as Christians, he says very specifically, sometimes that your enemies are going to be your own family members, and they're going to not accept you, and there's going to be this rift, this division that is caused by you following Jesus and them being unwilling to be around someone that has a different lifestyle. So your job then is not to actually, Alexis, your job is not to get right with your parents. It's to give them an opportunity to get right with you, because you would, right, get right with them. If someone doesn't want to hear about Jesus, I make it clear that, you know what, hearing about Jesus is a privilege. If you don't want to hear about it, you don't get to. And I really, it's just this real boldness of, listen, this is good news. And if you don't want it, then no way. Now I'm not in a place of go, I won't tell you. I'm just making it clear to them, this is valuable stuff, and I'm not going to force it on you because it's absolutely priceless. Now, your job is not to get your parents saved. It's to give them a choice. And your job is to live as a Christian that has love and joy and peace, even though they're not happy with you. That you accept the fact that they may not look at you the same as they did before you became a Christian. That there might be some division between the two of you. And again, the division is you're on Jesus' side, they're on Satan's side. And you don't want to say that to them like that, but basically it's, I'm going to stand in a place of truth, knowing that I can be forgiven, and giving them an opportunity to know that they are sinners too. I don't have to point out every sin, but I'm just saying that there has to be an example made of someone that has received a personal relationship with Jesus, that lives in joy and peace and hope, despite, Alexis, despite the fact that your family doesn't accept you. And that's radically different for them. And so you give them over to the Lord, and you trust God with them. God says he's not willing that any should perish, that all should come to repentance. And so you pray for them. You're constantly in prayer. You're constantly asking God to do something in their life, bring somebody into their lives. And again, one of the things that you find scripturally is that the people closest to you are least likely to hear about the gospel from you. That there's no honor in your own home, basically, because they know.
Hey, let me read that verse because I brought it up.
Even
because
Jesus.
it's comforting to me as Alexis in Mark 6:4. Jesus said to them, a prophet is not without honor except in his own country, among his own relatives, and in his own house. And that's in context of they were asking him, isn't this the carpenter's son, named all of his relatives and stuff, and because he was local, they didn't accept him spiritually and stuff. So that is comforting for me, because family is the hardest.
It is.
And and the whole hypocritical thing, Alexis, is just, that's something that I used before I became a Christian as well. And it was an excuse so that I didn't have to face the truth about my own life and my own personal things that I was doing at the time. And so it's always easier to look outwards and point the finger. And so when I really gave my life to the Lord, my husband saw a big change in me. I didn't really see it, but he saw a big change in me. And part of it was that he saw me reading my Bible. He saw me, purposing to live for Jesus, even in those early years when I was still smoking and drinking, even, and probably cursing still. But
seriously, she was nice.
See, I was nice. If your sister says that you're a hypocrite, maybe before the Lord you could say, okay, God, is there something in my life? Is there some way that I'm making it easy for my sister to say that. And really, all you can do, and the best that you can do, is just go and say, I am so sorry, I did this, or I said this, will you forgive me? And then just move along. And I had to do that when I'm in my work. I worked with a bunch of ladies who, you know, it was a joke because I would come in and say, I'm so sorry for how I acted yesterday, girls. They would actually say, we know what you're going to say, you don't need to say it. But I purposed to live a life that was Christ-like, and when I blew it, I wanted to make sure they knew that I blew
Yeah,
it.
there you go.
And that I was going to ask them to forgive me.
that's good.
I didn't want to be a bad example to the Lord. And plus, that helped me. That helped me in my walk with God, too.
You see, too, when people do that, the things that you guys are talking about, slowly over the years, their friends and family members just start dropping like flies, and a lot of them get saved because of that light.
Right.
because of
Yeah.
that witness.
Absolutely. That's the promise, and it is so good when you're just purposing. You know, for me, one of the things that God did was, anytime I cussed, He would just have me apologize for it. And all the guys at my work, my family members, they were just like, "Quit that! Quit apologizing! You're making us feel bad." Perfect. Because I was showing I was real. I would still cuss, and yet I could just go, I'm sorry, I shouldn't be doing that. And they knew that there was something radically different, not because I didn't cuss, but because I apologized. See what I mean?